this week. Jasper at North at 6:30 Central. All three of these games actually at 6:30 Central. North Posey at Southridge. That might be one of the games of the week to circle on the calendar. If you're a high school football fan, have to get to one. You might want to head up to Huntingburg and Mount Vernon and Gibson Southern. Always a good one. We'll start with Jasper and North. Jasper and North both looking to get back to 500. Jasper's offense hasn't exactly been as strong as they have been in the past. North, though, their defense still has stood the test throughout the season. Can they get it done?
Well, North hasn't had a great season so far, but they got a win against a solid opponent last week. The offense and defense clicking in a 28-12 win over Vincennes. And this is all after a one-possession loss to a pretty good modern-day team. Looking at this squad on offense, Jason Rucker will have to do damage rushing the ball. So this Husky defense doesn't get gassed from how methodical the Wildcats are with their own rushing attack. North has 9 interceptions this season on defense, but they'll need more of their 7 fumbles with how little the ball will be in the air.
Colin, last week the Jasper Wildcats went toe-to-toe with Castle in a game where Tony Lewis and his staff went for the win in regulation instead of settling for overtime with a 2-point conversion attempt that ultimately fell a yard short. I love the play call to go for 2, and despite the loss, the Wildcats have a chance to build on that defensive showing that it had with North on Friday before the regular season finale next week, while the Wildcats rushing game will continue to be its biggest offensive threat.
Yeah, certainly two teams that can run the ball. Two other teams that can run the ball, Southridge and North Posey. Southridge 350 yards on the ground in the win over South Spencer last week. Noah Wright with 3 touchdowns at 191 of those yards. North Posey, though, nobody's been able to stop Jed Galvin. I've talked to a ton of coaches. They don't know how to stop him. How can Southridge at least contain him on Friday?
Well, last season, Southridge lost to North Posey by 7 points. And if the Raiders want to clinch that PAC division on their home turf, they'll need another balanced scoring effort like they had last week in a 48-12 win over South Spencer offensively. Noah Wright was outstanding with almost 200 yards rushing against the Rebels and 3 touchdowns. On the defensive side, Southridge forced 4 turnovers, including 2 interceptions from Camden Haywood and a fumble recovery to aid in that win.
Well, Michael just touched on it. I can tell you who's going to be the main man for North Posey. It's Jed Galvin off another unreal stat line of over 200 yards rushing, a few touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The Vikings will need him to be on his A game again. But this Southridge team might be too good to be one-dimensional against. Carter Schickel will have to air the ball out when the time calls for it. In previous weeks, North Posey hasn't had a reason to go away from the ground, but now they might.
Yeah, that probably will be one of, if not the best games in the Tri-State this week. Mount Vernon and Gibson Southern, also 2 very good teams. Mount Vernon coming off a big loss to Heritage Hills, 55-6 the final of that one. Gibson Southern, though, they are another strong team who's got the edge.
Well, Southridge has looked pretty darn good this year. I mean, Mount Vernon, Mount Vernon's looked pretty good. They're putting together a good season after losing Nico Burnett from under center from last year. Outside of last week's loss to Heritage Hills, Ryder Snodgrass has been connecting the Nash Hostetter all year. They aren't afraid to put up and catch 50-50 balls, and they'll want to have that go their way this week against the Titans. Although the risky throws may go the other way against this solid Gibson secondary. If the Wildcats grab a win in this game, they'll prove to be a tough out in the 3A sectional later on.
Yes, there was a setback for Gibson Southern a couple of weeks ago with a shutout loss to Heritage Hills, but after a 29-point win over Washington, the Titans have the chance to end the regular season with some momentum and a winning streak before a challenging sectional awaits. Since Mount Vernon joined the PAC, the Titans have won all 3 regular season meetings on average by 38 points, and that isn't counting 2 postseason games in that span, so expect another big showing offensively for the Titans.
Let's take a look at one more game we got for you. Forest Park at Pike Central. That Ranger defense is up there with any this season. They allow just about 17 points per game. The Chargers, though, snapped a 4-game skid last week against Tell City with a 22-0 win. Kickoff will be at 6 p.m. Central in Petersburg, which means that is 7 o'clock Eastern. And after the conclusion of that game and every game, tune in tomorrow for another home team Friday at 10:35 on ABC 25. For Colin Davies and the Red Coat himself, Zane Clodfelter, I'm Michael Gross. We'll be right back.